Hi everyone, I'm Jeremy and this is Yoga with Jeremy. Today we've got a tutorial on how to get into wheel pose. We'll really go into detail breaking down the wheel pose, how to get deeper into it and all the pitfalls you should avoid. After this, if you're looking for a flow that incorporates wheel pose, I'll leave a link down in the description below for a backbending flow on this channel as well. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. Let's get started. Wheel pose is a challenging backbend that requires both strength and flexibility to perform. For those with the strength and flexibility to perform the pose, wheel pose can seem almost deceptively simple. But there are many pitfalls to avoid in order to find the safest alignment and gain the most benefits from the pose. Let's begin with the entry into the pose. We start by lying on our backs on the mat, with the knees bent, bringing the feet close to the butt. Keep the feet hip-width apart. Then take the hands and place them next to the ears, about shoulder-width apart, so that the fingers are pointing down towards the shoulders. And from here, some people take the option to press up straight away into wheel pose, but I prefer to come up first to the crown of the head. Once we are up onto the crown of the head, it's the perfect opportunity to adjust the hands and the feet so that they are comfortable and ready to exert the most force. And from here, just going to press up all the way, coming up into wheel pose. At its most basic, this is already wheel pose. What are some of the pitfalls that we can avoid in wheel pose? The first is, as we come up, one of the things we should avoid is the elbows flaring out too wide. So we try to find the action of the elbows hugging inwards. And if we look at the feet and the knees, the other thing that can often go wrong is that the knees open out too wide, especially when we start to go deep into the wheel pose. So we find again the action of the knees hugging inwards this time. It doesn't have to hug in all the way, we just keep it about hip-width apart. And then the question of how to go deeper into wheel pose. To go deeper into wheel pose, what we need to do is to press the chest towards the back wall, using the muscles in the legs to kick a little bit more, straightening out the knees so that the chest comes closer to the back wall, the shoulders opening up a little bit more, and also find the engagement in the muscles in the back as well as the shoulders. This engagement helps us to gain the most benefits from the pose. For those of us who are working on finding wheel pose, it can be beneficial to think about what we can work on in order to improve the most. Sometimes when we are still working on finding the flexibility in the back and the shoulders, we find that the wrist ends up taking the brunt of the flexibility demands here, and in the end that can also be quite painful for the wrist or almost an injury risk. Instead, we find a variation using blocks by placing the blocks up against the corner of the wall, placing them just at an angle, and then coming up to wheel pose in such a way that instead of placing the hands on the mat, we place the hands on the block. From here, pressing again either up to the crown of the head or all the way straight up into wheel pose. And this helps us to relieve some of the stress in the wrist, but at the same time continue to find all of the beneficial engagement that we can get in wheel pose. On the other hand, if we find that it's strength that we should be working on, if pressing up is just a little bit difficult, then perhaps working on some strength can be beneficial to us. And here I have a video that will help you work on building up the strength in the arms, and I'll place a link also in the description below. And that's it for wheel pose. Thank you very much for watching. I forgot to mention that if you're releasing from wheel pose, don't forget to bring your chin to your chest. This will avoid the bumping of the head into the ground. I'll see you soon. Bye!